military. Of course, it'll be in the show notes. All right, let's get to the main event. This episode is not about getting on podcast. This is about how to be great, and I'm saying great when you get on and afterwards, or after the podcast. Now, there are lots of benefits of being a guest on other people's podcasts, and the biggest one to me is being exposed to other audiences with a warm introduction from the host of the podcast. I've made tons of money from people who never heard of me before by being introduced to them on someone else's podcast. So this episode is picking things up after you secured the appearance. Other episodes will talk about getting on the podcast, but this is after you've gotten on. I'm going to break it down into different sections, way before the interview, before the interview, just before the interview, during the interview, after the interview. So to make it so you'll know what to do in each part of that. And if this sounds like a lot of work, it is. This episode, like I said, is about being great, a great podcast guest, not a lazy bum who wants to be on big shows with no work. That will not happen. And this is the work that's had me on some shows 13 times and invited back to shows that normally don't repeat guests very often or at all. All right, so let's get into way before, and I'm saying this, way before any interview. This has nothing to do with a specific interview. This is things you need to get ready if you want to be a great podcast guest. Well, you need to have a good microphone. A lot of people get the Yeti microphones, the blue or the other one, and those are great. Now, what you want to avoid is these cheap noise-canceling headset mics. They always suck. I've never had a good one yet, and from your end, you don't kind of know the difference, but from the other